Dash, I was saying the reason this movie was in my feed was because of the very good movie Another Round. Like that's the reason it ended up being in my 2B queue in the first place. And it made me think during this movie that Mads Mikkelsen is the secular Danish Kevin Sorbo.
Wow. There's something there.
I wonder if Mads Mikkelsen has ever been in a Christian movie.
Well, we'll see what we can do.
Early in his career. They don't have Christ in Denmark.
No.
Yeah, that's probably true.
They killed him long ago.
Yeah. They worship like a deer or a humanoid. You only see him in a dark forest where he like screams louder than any noise you could ever comprehend.
It's like in Princess Mononoke where they like kill the forest spirit and take his head, and they just like preserved the head in like amniotic fluid, and that's what they worship in Denmark. But he's hot, so they're doing something right.
God gives us abilities, and he expects us to use them. We live in a fallen world. God needs warriors, businessmen, athletes, as much as he needs ministers, maybe even more so.
Welcome back to Boys Bible Study. We are aged podcasters staging a comeback. My name is Ash. I'm a child of God.
My name is Scott.
My name is Julian, and I'm a nephew of God.
I've got to say, I had never heard of this film. The film is One More Round, and not 2 minutes into the movie, we got Kevin Sorbo screaming, "You're not my nephew!"
More like a chump. Uncle Billy? Don't call me uncle. I don't want people to know we're related. You're not my nephew.
That is a strained familial relationship I don't think I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah.
Other than maybe like, isn't there, what's the one where Cinderella, isn't she like lives with her aunts or something? And
Well, she's with her stepmother. That's a stepsister and stepmother story, which even that is like primally like anyone can understand that like your stepmother or sisters might be wicked, like even if that's not true, because like they are the facsimile of your family, but they are not, and so you're at their mercy.
They are wicked.
Yeah.
They're wicked.
They are wicked, but wait until they get stuck in the dryer.
Yeah. Then you might change your tune.
Yeah.
But God, when your nephew gets stuck in the dryer,
you're not my nephew.
you are no longer a nephew to me. You are an object. Well, gentle listeners, we are back, continuing our couple weeks, getting back into the Sorbo-verse, fresh off of our very successful screening at American Cinematheque. Thank you, anyone listening who made it out. It went awesome. A great turnout for 10 p.m. on a Sunday. I was honestly thrilled.
Yeah,
thank
you all for coming out. It was awesome to see. Awesome to see everybody's faces.
Oh my God,
was able to make it out
for real. And even having watched Let There Be Light several times by this point, seeing it on the big screen was really special. I mean, Julian, you had gone to the screening, or both of you went? It was only I who wasn't there, maybe.
No, I went by myself. I think it was before we did the podcast.
Oh, it's definitely before we did the podcast.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I just went on a whim.
That's awesome.
One weekend when it was screening, and it was pretty tense. I mean, it was a packed theater, as most of these Christian movies are, and you just don't think you'll see the kinds of people you see at these things in a quote unquote liberal major metropolitan area.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it brings them out.
It's very eye opening and very, very difficult very difficult movie to not laugh during. But if I wasn't convinced that a third of the theater was concealed carrying,
that has a way of shutting you up.
I probably would have burst out laughing.
Man, you couldn't laugh the first time you watched it?
No, it was tough.
It was a Batsuno laughing game.
Yeah,
Man.
that was one of the most difficult Batsu games.
Yeah, imagine if the punishment in the Batsu game was just getting shot.
Yeah, getting crucified.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jesus played in the most difficult Batsu game of them all. It's called Human Nature. But you know what I've got to say? I was struck by seeing this on the big screen. I knew a lot of the beats were coming. Some of the editing beats I think were funnier on the big screen, like the different ways that Kevin Sorbo and his fictional son Davey like rotate in each other's arms in the heaven scene. I thought that was like particularly funny on the big screen. Because like they would just abruptly like switch shots and then the rotation direction would be different. I was blown away by Sam Sorbo's acting on the big screen.
Oh God, everything is just amplified.
Yes,
the way she contorts her face.
Yep. Yeah, she's a silent movie era actress in the way that she uses her face to tell a story. She was serving face. Mm-hmm. I have to say it.
Scott, I wish you had stayed on the Zoom call and were able to just watch the reaction in the theater the whole time.
Oh man, that would have been.
You could have been in the corner of the screen like Japanese variety shows.
Yeah,
yeah.
I could have given commentary from the corner like one of the commenters wanted.
Yeah, like some of the people who commented online expected that we were going to do.
Who did not show up to tell us, air their grievances in person.
Nah, nobody. Yeah, and they got up on the soapbox. Of course, they're keyboard warriors. We're God warriors, y'all.
This is why democracy doesn't work.
It's why it dies in darkness. So let there be light. You know what I'm saying?
True.
Also, wait, Julian, earlier when you said it was hard not to burst out laughing, have you guys seen the new acronym IDGBOL?
No.
IDGBOL? I just burst out laughing.
Yes. Have you seen this yet?
God.
It's really funny. I've actually more than I saw an article that was like kids are trying to change LOL, but it's actually not kids. It's like 32-year-old gay men on Twitter. It's actually really funny when deployed in the right way.
That's funny.
It tickles me when I see it. But that's some of the Twitter news. I have not been able to fight my X addiction. I'm back on the app. I'm idge bowling with the other gays on X. There was actually I don't want to get too off topic, but I do want to mention something that kind of applies to our podcast a little bit before we get started. The big controversy on X today, it's Tuesday, August 29th, is that there's sort of like a vaguely conservative, like one of those like trad, like old aesthetics type people on Twitter, of which there are seemingly an endless amount of these people. His handle is Old Books Guy, and but he's actually a young man. He likes old books. Okay, he made an Excel spreadsheet where he identified the 15 qualities that good art has, and the opposite qualities are therefore held by bad art. So he made the definitive list on what makes a piece of art good or not.
Finally, amazing.
Can you list them for us?
Yeah, I think I can list them pretty quickly. If this gets tedious, we'll cut it. But I will list I'll read the list to you. Number 1, emotional effect. Good art improves mood. Bad art makes you feel weird. 2, physical effect. Good art boosts energy. Bad art saps energy.
Sure.
3, directional changes. Good art sets off an upward spiral. Bad art sets off a downward spiral.
Good.
Okay, some of these are boring. I'll skip to the funny ones. Number 6, drug metaphor. Good art is like bulletproof coffee. Bad art is like weed.
My God.
Number 7, essential nature. Good art is structured and rhythmic. Bad art is unstructured and obsessively anti-rhythm.
Go ahead.
Blah, blah, blah. Number 11, Hall of Fame. Good art wishes to be canonic. Bad art wishes to destroy the canon. So on our Twitter, which I again, I've sort of been off X, so I barely use, but I actually reposted this chart and I circled the boxes that I couldn't help, you know, this chart is obviously inane. Like it's stupid, you know, it's not even worth pointing out. But I saw it and I was like, there actually is something interesting about it. And the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to rank the 2023 movie Left Behind: Rise of the Antichrist, because I think that ranking a Christian movie by this list is very interesting, because these are movies that strive to be canonical and structured, but frequently like completely fail.
Sure.
And this is a personal opinion. I tried to be as fair as possible. Out of 15, Left Behind: Rise of the Antichrist were 5 things in the good art category and 10 things in the bad art category.
Oof. Honestly, that turned out better than I thought.
Should we be ranking our movies by this list now?
I kind of think so. Maybe I should. I'll send it to the chat.
Of course, this is the definitive list.
I know, and I actually think that like
everybody will be now.
Right, and I actually think that like this list, although it is insane, is actually like a really good list to think for Christian movies, because like if you're looking at this list, you know, it says like a good art empowers life, bad art enfeebles life. Like I would say that a lot of the Christian movies we watch empower life, but if you look at the top at the mood affects, they all make you feel weird and set off a downward spiral. And like I find that very interesting. I like that this is art that manages to be like to not all be in one category in the list. Like I think he made this list thinking that all like conservative art, or you know, just like classic art that a type of conservative likes, would do good art. Like art is either going to be all good or all bad, is what I think the implied nature of this list is, right?
Yeah.
But I find that the movies we watch are like 50-50 or maybe like 75% bad and 25% good, and that's interesting to me.
I love this last. Did you say the last line? Good art is man's.
Oh, that's the
right
conclusion.
and terrible duty.
Yeah. Whereas bad art is whining, coping, seething, and a waste of time. I mean, trying to be as unbiased as possible, you know that most of the movies we watch are in the second category. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Most of our movies are seething and a waste of time. Doesn't mean we don't like them. But that's why I think our study is very interesting. You know, it's really hard to put in a box, even for insane people who want to put art in a box.
Can't believe art's not subjective anymore.
No, they figured it out.
This is crazy.
Isn't it awesome? It's like it's really taken X by storm today.
I mean, I'm looking at this list and I'm proud to say that everything I have made falls in the under the good art.
I've said that.
Column, yeah.
I've said that. You hint at forgotten values.
I like number 8. Good art instinctively recognized as art. Bad art instinctively recognized as a scam.
I mean, let's be honest.
Scammed by bad art.
Can we be honest? Which of the most? Sorry. Can we be honest? Which of the categories most of the movies we watch fit into? They all literally seem like money laundering scams.
Yeah. That's true, yeah.
And the ones that do seem like someone who is trying to be canonical, like they really want to be like a famous actor or filmmaker, they are all unstructured and obsessively anti-rhythm, despite all attempts at the opposite.
That's a good point.
So this is why Christian movies are one of the most interesting cultural studies. That's my thesis for the day.
Yeah,
sure.
Which I suppose could bring us back to, I mean, I was the one who set it off course, but back to our discussion of this week's film, One More Round. A truly all-star, insane, like, just, I can't even really, like, I felt, you know, when you put this one down in the ideas list, Scott, it was like, okay, yeah, just going down the list of Sorbos. And then I saw everybody involved in this, and it's a fucking who's who.
Mm-hmm.
This is a mega movie. This is the freaking Avengers.
What year did this come out?
2015.
2015. And we do have Sorbo. But who else Who else do we have in this film that is of note in the Boys Bible Study canon? There are many correct answers to this.
Well, it's directed by Chip Rossetti, who did Gramps Goes to College. And I know what you're immediately thinking. Oh, please let Gramps be in the movie too. He is Donald James Parker.
Yes.
Back again in I was going to say different role, but it's basically the exact same role, except this time he works at a furniture store. And
yeah, Chip Rossetti's muse and life partner, Donald James Parker.
Yeah. They are each other's, like, what's a good comparison for two people who work together? Like Kelly Reichardt and Michelle Williams.
Lolita and Humbert.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, that one's better. That one's better.
It's because I just watched Showing Up last week.
Oh, nice.
And then T.C. Stallings, who we just saw in War Room.
Ooh, that was awesome
great
to
in
see
this.
him. I was like, where have I seen that, like, almost unreal looking hot guy? Like, he is like, is a great body, amazing face. That's almost like a little too sharp to seem like a real human.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's genetic. I don't think he's had work done or anything, but he looks like chiseled.
Yeah, it's a good Hollywood face for sure.
It is. I think he's even more muscly in this than he was in War Room, but it's kind of hard to tell.
Well, yeah, especially when he's right next to our protagonist, Jake the Jackhammer, who did not have as much time to get his body into shape as B.A. Wait, what was T.C. Stallings' name? B.A. Fantana?
Oh, yeah, B.A.
Yeah.
B.A. was
B.A.
his
Fantana, yeah.
Name.
And
B.A.
then,
Fantana.
Who else did we have? We already said Kevin Sorbo. One more round of Kevin Sorbo.
Well, and we did talk about Donald James Parker a little bit. We are going to come back to that because there's a lot to say about Chip and Donald's work on this film. Notably, and I got to be honest, I did not know who this person was, but I ended up reading a bunch about him. I read like Wikipedia and one other article. Franco Columbu.
Yes.
Franco Columbu.
Director and star of Beretta's Island.
Yes.
Is that a show based on the show Beretta? Or is that a movie based on the show Beretta?
I never saw that show. I don't think it is.
I only know about it because it's the show that Robert Blake got famous from.
Oh, I didn't know that. Beretta's Island, though. Ash, I know you watched this with me in like the middle of like watching 3 movies in a row or something.
Really? I've watched this?
Yes, you have watched Beretta's Island.
Oh, man.
I'm pretty sure.
Zero memory of this.
And it's he was like Arnold Schwarzenegger's lawyer or something at the time. So Arnold Schwarzenegger is on the poster, but he's really just in like the first 3 minutes of the movie.
It seems like everywhere Arnold went, Franco went for several years. Franco even has small, sometimes uncredited or cameo or bit parts in films such as Terminator, Predator, Conan, The Running Man. Like the most famous Arnold movies. He plays characters such as in The Running Man, he plays 911 security officer number 2. So, it's like that.
And he's like
that type of role, but
he's like a ripped guy. So like, I'm sure he's playing like kind of like more stunt type things too. And he's kind of short, which I think is like good for certain types of shots you're trying to get. But I said he directed Beretta's Island. He did not, but it is his passion project. He wrote it and started it. And I know that was like his baby.
I love his name is Franco Armando Beretta in that movie.
Yeah,
that's great.
His first name is still Franco
Columbo Beretta.
He's also Franco in this movie.
Yeah, and this is final movie as a 74-year-old boxing trainer, still pretty ripped.
Wow.
Yes, apparently I needed to know how he passed away because he was looking very. I mean, he was looking active and healthy and mobile and everything in this film. I mean, he was still pretty old, but still. But yeah, apparently he just, I think, oh shit, I actually forgot. Did he have a heart attack? It just said he felt ill while he was swimming and then he like died on the way to the hospital. I forgot the really key detail of what happened. It might've been like a heart problem or something. But basically what I'm trying to say is right up until his death, he was being physically active. He was like swimming. But so, R.I.P. He died in 2019. This is his final film role. One more round. And I think those are the main guys. Was the lead in anything?
I swear I've seen him in something else. I could not find anything I recognized.
That was my conclusion as well. I was like, I know. He almost reminded me of like the guys from the basketball movie. The Mormon basketball movie, but I don't think that. I think he was just giving me the aesthetics. I don't recognize him from anything. Who's Jeremy London as Brock Thornhill?
Oh, Jeremy London was in I Believe.
Oh, wow. Cool. That's awesome. Okay, we'd love to see that. So this is an insane, confluence of Christian guys, of Christian guy energy. And I want to say, like, maybe even before we get into some of the plot of the movie, that to me, so Donald James Parker, aka Gramps, we know him as Gramps, who he has a co-writing credit on this film. There's 3 writers listed. 2 I haven't heard of, and Donald James Parker. Here's my theory. It is that you can tell exactly which scenes that Donald James Parker wrote on. Like my vision of the writing process for this movie is literally like Donald wrote his scenes and they inserted them into the movie. It was like Exquisite Corpse.
I buy it. All his scenes are very standalone.
They are, and the reason I think that is because there will be scenes of like, this is what boxing training is like. And then there will be like one insane scene where 2 characters are talking to each other and saying things such as, sometimes God needs to wring out a sponge before he puts more water in it. Or it shows a woman being needlessly cruel and Machiavellian and trying to like remove all of the joy from someone's life. And to me, those are the touches of a Parker production. Like,
yes, he does have a big hatred of women.
He has a strange way of writing these like female characters that are almost so evil they're like caricatures. Like they will stop at nothing to ruin every aspect of your life, and then when you ask them why they're doing it, they say it's because I love you.
Yeah.
Other than the saying "because I love you," the stepmother in this was like a Disney villain, basically.
Yeah. In this case, mother-in-law,
not stepmother,
still,
mother-in-law. I got stepmother on the brain from Cinderella.
Right. Yeah. But no. Yeah. I mean, there's an extensive scene where, not to jump ahead, but I think we can say like Jake the Jackhammer, former professional boxer. His mother-in-law tries to ruin his marriage by forging his wife's signature on a temporary restraining order. And I noticed also in that pile of papers was a line of credit as well, which made me think that they didn't really get into that in the movie, but it made me think she was going to like open credit cards in her like daughter's name and like try to ruin her financial future. They didn't get to that, but this woman just for no reason is just like, I am going to try to legally ruin all aspects of my own daughter's life and her son-in-law.
That's evil.
It's pretty damn evil.
Yeah. No 2 ways about it.
Right.
It was funny too when she's looking at the paperwork and she like looks to the left, looks to the right, looks to the left, looks to the right, looks behind her, looks to the left, and finally looks down. It's like, you're just in a house with nobody else there. It's your house.
Your house. Yeah. No, she's just all the shadow people, and she drank too much DXM, and she's seeing shadow people and spiders and stuff.
Oh, real quick, speaking of doing weird things in your own house too, though, there was a point during the training montage where Jake the Jackhammer wakes up to his alarm, and I realized he was just like sleeping on a mattress in like a random room, and it's like, but you're at your house.
Right. I love that. Because it's like they try to do a thing where it's like, his wife and child have left him, and so he's sort of like he's all on his own. He's basically like an aged, sad bachelor. Like he has no food in his cupboards and he's sleeping on a mattress on the floor. But it's like, your family just lived there like 2 days ago. Like, did you sell your bed frame? Are you going to wear like a barrel with suspenders on it next? Which, by the way, my bed frame literally cracked in half the other night. I'm currently sleeping on a mattress on the floor. I bought a new one from Amazon, but like, you know, I don't want to fucking assemble that. So I'm still on the floor. So, yeah. So one more round. This is a boxing movie. This is a Christian sports movie. In fact, the IMDb description sort of cheekily says, basically the Christian version of Rocky. Is that true? It's been a while since I saw Rocky. It's about boxing.
Nah, I don't know. It's not really Rocky.
They were definitely trying to imply some Rocky fandom with the music during the montage
absolutely.
parts. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's Christian Rocky full on.
No, it's definitely using tropes, boxing movie tropes that are cues taken from Rocky, but
it was actually like more similar to the Evan Jacobs movie Boxing Time that I watched on Tubi once.
I can't say I saw that one.
It is a lower budget movie than what we just watched. Okay. But it has a more similar premise. I'll just read you the IMDb premise real quick.
Please.
Evan Jacobs as Art Banefeld, a boxing promoter who is in over his head with life. He's behind on child support or any kind of support for his daughter. His boxing events are replete with problems, and he is being leaned on to fix a bout at one of his club shows. Despite all of this, Art is doing everything that he can to be a better person and failing miserably.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's more similar than Rocky, I think.
Yeah, right. Yeah. In this film, Jake Taylor is our main character. They call him Jake the Jackhammer. He is portrayed by actor, producer, writer Tommy Lee Thomas, which I didn't realize that Tommy actually also has a co-writing credit on this film. So, again, it's Chip Prezzetti directing something that he did not write. Donald James Parker is involved on it, which is a hallmark of a Chip production. But there's some other writers on this, including the lead actor, Jake Taylor. Kevin Sorbo is Jake Taylor's uncle, who is still mad at him over basically what happened before the action of the movie. The big deal in Jake Taylor's life was apparently he was a very rising up and coming professional, and he was about to have the fight of his career, and he just like bailed. He just like fled the locker room and was never heard from again.
Yeah. Much to the chagrin of his uncle.
Right. Kevin Sorbo, which is why in the beginning of the movie, it's a dream sequence, but we hear him say, "You are not my nephew."
His uncle, who is the same age as him, which is possible.
Yeah. I guess theoretically, yeah.
Yeah, but it's not like typically you don't see that. I don't know. I feel like I would not be. If I was, a couple years older than my nephew, I don't think I would be like lording it over them.
Yeah, you wouldn't be using like the family seniority as like a way to define your relationship.
Yeah. I mean, even my uncles are, the same age as my dad, and I don't like respect if like they were to tell me they were disappointed in me.
You'd be like, "Who the fuck are you?"
I wouldn't care. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is different though. This is like his boxing uncle.
This is boxing uncle.
Yeah, I don't have a boxing uncle.
Yeah, I can't say I do either.
A bunkle, as I like to call him.
A bunkle. Well, we can't all be lucky enough to have a bunkle. Jake does have a family. They are at their wits' end with his inability to provide. He is working at a furniture store as a salesman, and he is doing very badly. He is, when we meet him in the film, this is a new job, and he has not made a single sale. His coworkers are Donald James Parker, who basically looks and sounds exactly like he does when he plays Gramps and Gramps Go to College. And I can't actually figure out on IMDb who this other actor's name is, but they cast a little person in a role. And what I thought was kind of cool is like there's absolutely no reference to that in the film whatsoever. There's not even a character.
Refreshing.
It kind of was. I was expecting them to. There literally nobody even called him friendlily like little guy or whatever. There was straight up just like no reference to him being physically different than anyone, which I thought was like interesting and kind of unexpected. So that's cool.
Yeah,
I literally cannot find his name on IMDb though. But that's the motley crew at this furniture store. They have a boss who kind of looks like an anti-Semitic cartoon. I hate to say it. He looks like Macklemore dressed up as a Jewish guy.
Yeah.
If you've seen that photo.
Yeah, he does.
And, and I don't know, I probably shouldn't say anything more. But, it's quite a motley crew there. But Donald James Parker is around to say things to him such as everything in this world is broken. Our bodies, our relationships, and even the weather.
I thought that was a interesting. Do you think that was an acknowledgement of climate change?
That's an interesting question. I do not know.
I think they were going for a laugh.
It's really hard to tell with Donald.
Yeah.
Because his sense of humor, he has a sense of humor and everything. When he's fully writing a movie, when he's the only writer, all of the characters speak the exact same way, which is that.
Yeah.
And, you can kind of tell they're going for a laugh sometimes, but like you can never really tell if he's doing like folk wisdom or he's doing like ironic folk wisdom.
Yes.
Right.
It's talking to literally anybody over the age of 45.
Yeah.
And regardless of what he's delivering, he's like glaring at the person, whether he's trying to make them laugh or be like, you're living your life wrong.
Right.
Yeah. It's so funny how he has to be the wisest character whenever he's on screen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even when he is like totally inconsequential to the film. I mean, he is consequential, but he is he has such terrible main character syndrome.
Oh my God. Yeah. Even when he's a supporting character, he has main character syndrome.
Yeah.
It's pretty remarkable. Oh, I wrote down just like my favorite lines that I would bet like a finger off of one of my hands that this is written by Donald. I wrote down this exchange of lines. The one coworker says, "The fortune cookie I ate last night is contradicting my horoscope." Yes. And then Donald says something like, "Well, why don't you read the Bible?" And then he says,
"It is the only book with a perfectly prophetic track record. The history of Persia, Greece, and Rome laid out in advance. 300 prophecies of the first coming of Christ fulfilled precisely, and over 800 prophecies concerning his second coming, which haven't yet been fulfilled, but that there is history before it happens."
I was like, if Donald didn't write that, then I don't know what I'm doing. Then I'll quit this podcast tomorrow.
Did we fact check that the Bible was in fact written and never revised?
That's right.
At any point
revised
since its initial, and the whole thing was written before those empires,
God,
right?
I didn't really. It's funny. Like at this point, I'm just so like ready to accept something Donald says that didn't even cross my mind as something that should raise alarm bells. Like it's not like I believed it, but it didn't like raise any extra alarm bells. I was just like, oh, that
was definitely one of the more egregious. I don't want to be fucking whatever amazing atheist or whatever, but
yeah,
that's a pretty egregious claim about the Bible.
It really is. Yeah. But
it goes a little beyond the sort of it's a guidebook to life.
Yes.
Into it has predicted the events of our universe with 100% accuracy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, a character being like, "Oh man, the fortune cookie I ate last night is contradicting my horoscope," is like,
yeah,
bro.
Don't you hate it when that happens?
Donald, you are too much.
Yes.
I'm looking at my notes, and even before then, when I just wrote like, her mom is going to lend them money in exchange for them divorcing, just needlessly cruel. This is so Donald. Like that plot point to me was just like, even before the insane quotes came, like I'm just looking at my notes and like before I just start word for word writing down some quotes that I thought were Donald, like they just got to that plot point. And I was like, this is a Donald James Parker movie.
Do you think he wrote the line about when the mother-in-law was like, Jake is just like his dad. I knew him in university.
He had all of these naive dreams about becoming a prize-winning physicist, getting these big research grants.
She's comparing directly to him pursuing boxing.
Yes. That's so him. For again, a woman to just vindictively remember a man she knew in the past, and like him aspiring toward things was like threatening to her.
Yeah.
And then using that to be vindictive to another man is like that. I think that's Donald like writing what he thinks is woman's nature.
Yeah. She ends that conversation by saying, I have the money and you don't.
Oh my God. Go on.
I'm really surprised that she didn't at some point try to sleep with Donald to keep him from like revealing that information.
That's so good. Oh my God. If you would have been in the writer's room for that, he would be like, that's great, Julian. I just think that didn't occur to him, and that's why it's not in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another. I'm just like, here is a Donaldism. I wrote this down like basically word for word. This exchange. It's when Cindy, Jake's, at the time separated wife, she meets the hot professional golfer at the coffee shop.
Yeah.
This is I'm just going to read the exchange. Brock comes up and says, "Excuse me, are you Cindy Birdwell?" She says, "I used to be. It's Taylor now." He said, "I'm Brock Thornhill. We went to Peelskill High together, Mr. Kiesler's class." I rewound that and I was like, whoa. Like, hold on a second.
1 minute later, a teenage girl comes up to get her picture with him because he's a golf pro.
A pro golfer.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like a teenage girl like seeing like Phil Mickelson and being like, oh my God, it's Phil Mickelson.
Yeah.
But the names Cindy Birdwell, Brock Thornhill, Peelskill High, and Mr. Kiesler's class.
Great series of words.
It's a crazy series of words, which I attribute to Donald. That one might be a stretch, but I really feel like it has his fingerprints on it. But yeah, as I already quoted, Gramps, Donald in his role, he says, sometimes God needs to wring out a sponge before he puts more water in it.
Any faith I had, it dried up a long time ago.
Sometimes God has to wring out a sponge before he puts more water in it.
And that's basically what we're watching for most of the movie. We're seeing Jake the Jackhammer be like a Job-like figure as everything in his life goes wrong, until he sort of decides to go back to boxing. What are some ways that his life is just failing him at the moment?
Oh, he's going to lose the mortgage on his house. He can't pay it.
Yeah.
He finally does get a big sale at his furniture sales job. But then, the next day, his boss claims that he's been working on that account for a while. So he gets the commission for it. And that Jake has not been doing that good. So he's going to be fired.
Right.
And then Gramps and Stu hold him back from killing him or whatever.
Yeah.
His car keeps almost not starting. That's some tension.
But it never fully breaks down, though, right?
No. What else? Oh, yeah. Of course, there's the restraining order that his mother-in-law filled out.
Yes.
Terrible.
Very terrible. And also that, so the mother-in-law is trying to keep her daughter and Jake, she's trying to separate their marriage. She thinks Jake is a bum. But also it's weird because his wife, she is like, it seems like every other scene faithful or unfaithful to him. Like there's some scenes where she's like, oh, my mother is such a witch. Like I need to get back to Jake. And then there's other scenes where she's like, well, I'm just like hanging out with this golfer. Like we're just friends, but he can provide for me. And it just seems very inconsistent.
It was really casual about that.
Yeah.
It was surprising for this realm of Christian movie to be that casual about stay with my husband or not stay with my husband.
I know. Again, maybe I could be cynical and attribute that to like Donald James Parker's idea of like woman's nature.
Yeah.
I mean, I find his writing to be very misogynistic. I don't know if that's how he is in his personal life, but like, I really feel like he's like, I mean, in Gramps goes to college. He's like, yeah, my daughter doesn't talk to me. And then we never hear about her again. That's just like one example of like, then he meets that professor and she's just like a total shrew. So,
when I was wondering, do y'all think that Jake and his wife were unequally yoked?
Ooh, great question. Well, you know what? I mean, I guess she is portrayed as being more of a Christian than Jake, who's kind of lapsed at that point. But I don't know. I feel like her Christianity isn't exactly the most steadfast. Like, I mean, all this stuff of her like hanging out with this golfer while they're separated, but not officially divorced. Yeah, that doesn't seem very yoked to me. It's hard to say. Hard to say.
Yeah, I don't know.
But, like the plot of Unequally Yoked, I mean, the answer is always just get closer to God.
Right. Oh, like I learned a long time ago in church, it's supposed to be like your relationship is like a triangle and God's at the top point so that the closer you both get to God, the closer you get together too.
Yes. I pre-watched Unequally Yoked 2, which spoiler we're going to do for our bonus episode next week. And in Unequally Yoked 2, they explicitly there's like a whole speech where a pastor talks about, he doesn't use the triangle metaphor, but he does say like, the closer you both get to God, the closer your relationship gets to each other. That's like the number one like moral from that film.
There you go.
So yeah, I mean, there you go. That's easy.
Properly yoked 101 right there.
Yeah, getting yoked 101. Speaking of getting yoked, Jake decides, as his life is sort of falling apart, the only way he can really think to provide for his family is to go back to doing what he used to do best, which was boxing. He gets reacquainted with his uncle, played by Kevin Sorbo.
In like his early 40s, by the way.
Yeah. Kevin seems like he's aged a lot in the past like 5 to 7 years. Because he looks pretty young in this movie. He looks great. And I don't know. I feel like in 2023, I don't know. But Sorbo looks good in this. That's all I'm trying to say. He looks good. But yes, he finds out that his uncle does not hate him and in fact has found Christ and forgiven him. He then pairs him with Coach Franco, played by Franco Columbu.
Everybody keeps giving this guy so much shit for quitting boxing. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Go ahead, walk out on me just like you walked out on boxing. Like, you'll never finish nothing, do you?
Why the hell do you put all your hopes and dreams on this one person? Like, you're not even in control of any of this shit.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I get that's part of what led Sorbo's character to Christ, but for crying out loud, dude. He's like, you cost me tens of thousands of dollars. Shouldn't be gambling on stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, right. Doesn't he even say at some point, like, you know, you think you want to be somebody, but what you really want to do is know somebody? That part didn't make any sense to me. But
that is absolutely a
is that a Donaldism?
That's got to be a Gramps line for sure.
Yeah, that does sound very Gramps. Now that I say it out loud,
it's like whatever somebody's trying to write a Buddhist koan, but they've just like gotten hit in the head with like a piano or something.
Yeah.
And he says God loves you and everyone else has a plan for your life. And then he proceeds to give him a plan for his life.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's so true.
Oh, also it's worth mentioning that while they're getting reacquainted, Sorbo is just circling him completely. He's just walking in circles around him the whole time. It's bizarre blocking.
He was going a little off the rails, Sorbo, who's usually very restrained. Yeah, I felt that he was overacting a little in this movie, which we don't normally see from Sorbs.
It's the Donald James Parker touch. He's just
maybe
influencing everybody around him. Can't help himself.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I think he is a special talent.
This movie is like the God, who's that guy I hate? Oh, Jodorowsky. This is like the Jodorowsky's Dune of Christian movies.
Yes.
Except this actually came out.
Yeah, so therefore that's Chip Rossetti 1, Jodorowsky 0. Right there. Yeah, it's like, yeah, he's like, and I'm gonna get Kevin Sorbo, and I'm gonna get TC Stallings or whatever that guy's name is, and I'm gonna get
just saw him in War Room,
and I'm gonna get Franco Columbu, who I've seen on Beretta's Island, my favorite movie, and. You know, I'm going to get...
And everybody's contributing, you know, a little bit of their specialty to the movie.
Yes. Yes. God, Jodorowsky's Dune is hilarious. I watched that documentary. He's like, I can't remember what band, if it's like Pink Floyd or like Yes or a different band, but he talks about how he's in the studio with the band. I feel like it's Pink Floyd. And then like he's trying to play them music and they like start eating lunch. And he's like, Jodorowsky is like so disgusted by this that he like leaves and he's like bragging about it. It's like, bro, you didn't even make the movie.
Yeah. Good for you, dude. You walked out on Pink Floyd and they never achieved any success after that.
Yeah, right.
You called them out for the frauds they were.
Right.
Yeah.
You showed them.
Also speaking, I like that
everybody knows who Jodorowsky is.
Right. I mean, I like that we sometimes turn into an anti-Jodorowsky podcast, but I read his book about tarot, and it honestly is one of the more misogynist books I've ever read.
Really? Oh my god.
It's so weird. So
I've heard that about him actually a lot, quite a bit.
Well, it's really funny because like he's very big about like male and female being like, you know, opposing and separate like energies, which is okay. You know, I get, listen, like, you know, liberal gender understanding aside, like that's a, you know, a pretty inherent and like that's been a part of the way people think for hundreds of thousands of years.
Sure.
But his books take that to like such an extreme where in the tarot book, every card means something different depending on whether you're a man or a woman who's pulling the card. And I'm not kidding. 50% of the cards for women are things like, she has a sexual issue involving thoughts of her father. Like he basically thinks that all women have are like weird sexual hangups and like daddy issues. That's like, I was very struck by like the ones for men are very like varied. They're very like varied.
He sounds like Gramps.
Yes.
I was just going to say, I want to film a movie now. It's just, we get one room, 2 actors. We give them a few prompts. We just edit it down to feature length from there. The other names are Jodorowsky and Donald James Parker.
We just see them circling each other, like
moderated by Jordan Peterson. Because honestly, it sounds like there's probably a lot of similarities in their belief system.
Okay, how about this? We do a debate. Grimes and Anna Khachiyan versus Joe Dorowski and Donald James Parker.
That's the masculine/feminism debate.
Yes, that's the masculine feminine debate. That would be very interesting. For anyone not aware, I'm referencing this debate that is supposed to happen in Los Angeles that I'm literally seeing flyers for now. That is moderated by Barry Weiss.
Are you going to go?
So, you know what? I honestly considered it just because I love Anna so much, but I can't do that. I really just can't. No, I can't. I have to draw the line somewhere.
I think it would be worth it just to see who actually goes to an event.
I know that would be very remarkable. I bet,
at the Ace Hotel.
I know that's. I
feel like they're about to find out that they're not in New York anymore. All these people.
Yeah, you're selling it to me, man.
Could be. Yeah,
you're selling it to me.
Should go.
Maybe we'll see. I did want to mention that Franco Columbu steals the show for me in this film.
He is very funny.
He says things like, he's very funny.
Yes.
He says things like, it is like the book of Proverbs.
You know, we try to be a little devotional every night before we close the gym. And one verse came in my mind, the Proverbs 24:16.
What? My favorite line, he had a couple. It was during the climactic boxing match.
Yeah, let's talk about the big blowout charity boxing match where Jake the Jackhammer.
What it's all leading up to. What Franco Columbu is training Jake the Jackhammer for.
Yeah.
And right before he starts training him, Sorbo asks him about getting him ready for the match, and he says,
you know, training like this is one thing, but getting him match ready is all another ball of beans.
Getting him match ready is all another ball of beans.
Oh man, I loved that line. That was awesome.
He had some great. He's like probably playing up this whole I'm the silly foreigner thing.
Watch Beretta's Island.
I'm Franco Armando. I work for the Interpol. Codename Beretta.
Yeah, right. I think you've seen too many movies.
Ladies, he checks out.
Okay, maybe not. He had some great lines during the tournament. The tournament, it seemed like there were 3 or 4 stages to the tournament before the final showdown.
Right.
Which I can't imagine any boxer, even the greatest boxers of all time, could physically survive a boxing tournament that took place over the course of one day involving fighting 4 full matches.
Yes, absolutely.
It was treated like an AAU basketball tournament. And you're
yeah. Just the amount of blows to the head and body that you would have to endure before you get to the finals. I think even the best boxer would probably be unconscious by the end of that.
Yeah.
I loved Franco's line when our hero is quoting Proverbs at him, or he says something about I listen to Proverbs. It's all Proverbs with this guy, but Franco says, maybe we should give you nickname Trouble, which I did not understand what that had to do with so many of his lines were just well, how was that a response to what was just said? He also had a really funny one where he said oh, so through Christ you get yourself a concussion? After the guy was oh, I can do all things through Christ.
Oh yeah, he says, you can be an idiot through Christ who strengthens you.
I can do this. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
You can be an idiot through Christ and strengthens you.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's it.
And right before that, Jake gets hit hard enough that he's bleeding, and he's like, oh, I'm bleeding. Franco's like, bleeding's good for you. It makes you stronger.
He's killing me out there.
No. Bleeding is good for you. Makes you stronger.
Which I guess is a pretty Christian thought.
Yeah, true. I really thought that they were building towards, like, he's not going to be able to win the fight, but he, like, wins back his wife because he showed that he tried. I thought we were building towards, like, very similar to Rocky, like, even if you don't win, there's victory to be found through trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was half expecting that too, because of the way they were building up TC Stallings' character too, B.A. Fantana. I thought he was gonna like see what he had gone through, and then even though he wins, he like donates money to cancer or something like that, or it's like, I'll pay off your mortgage, or I don't know, something where God provides anyway.
Part of me feels like maybe that was the original ending, because there is so much talk of how dangerous boxing with a concussion is before he finally is like, all right, go on back out there, and then he wins somehow.
I just hope this little girl with cancer is happy that all these men are fucking killing themselves to like a charity boxing match, They couldn't do like a charity like dunk tank or something.
Right.
Yeah.
I wonder what kind of cancer she had. She has like brain cancer and just sees guys like beating each other in the heads.
Yeah, that makes her feel better.
Surreal
solidarity.
Yeah.
There was a lot going on in this movie. The guy, it was funny how the charity boxing match solved all the problems, everyone's problems.
Yep.
From the girl stricken with cancer to the guy who's losing his wife and his house and his job, to the gym owner who needs to retire.
Yeah.
It's very rare in life that you can find one weekend where all of your problems and everyone you know's problems will be solved.
But who's one guy who could figure that out? Kevin Sorbo, your uncle Kevin Sorbo.
Right.
Yeah.
He knows best. Uncle knows best.
I gotta hit up my uncle. I gotta hit up my uncles.
Yeah. You need some uncle guidance in your life. They can probably arrange a weekend for you that will solve all problems.
Yeah. My charity boxing tournament with my uncle serving as the judges.
Yeah, I will say at the end of the movie, they did still lose the house.
Oh, right.
Oh, right. They didn't actually resolve that.
No, I think they even say like, well, we did lose the house, but we gained a family.
We lost a house, but gained a gym, or half of one.
We gained a family.
I'd say we came out pretty good.
So bizarre.
And the family they were referring to, by the way, was him becoming co-owner of the boxing gym. By family, they meant like a bunch of guys with head trauma.
Yeah. The Columbu family.
The Columbu family. They should remake. They should have remade Columbo with Franco Columbu.
Oh my god!
And he solves everything. He has, and one more thing.
I feel like if you ever went to a Franco Columbu family reunion, it would be like a lot of like trapeze artists and fire breathers.
Yeah. He had a circus vibe.
Yeah.
He did.
I did think the way the boxing was filmed and edited was better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Like based on how they put together the intramural sports scenes in Gramps Goes to College, but a year before.
Yeah, same director too.
I thought it was some nice low budget filmmaking of just having, the ring with everything blacked out around it.
Yeah.
Whereas I feel like in a lot of these movies you would see the ring in like a half, like a, 1/8 filled gym with like 6 extras who are, either 12 years old or 85 years old attending a boxing match.
Like how that, what was that short we watched? 4 Boys Bible Study that was an allegory to fighting porn addiction.
Or it's just called Fight, I believe.
Right.
Fight. It wasn't. You know what was weird was at the beginning when he's having the dream about his boxing career falling apart. The ref, the umpire, whatever the fuck you call him in a boxing match, was just like wearing a t-shirt and jeans.
Yeah, that's dream logic for you.
And they seem to be fighting in like a basement.
Might have been Casual Fridays.
That was right after the announcer said something about the ring and then was like, the boxing ring, that is. And you're like, yeah, I know.
We start off in the ring, the boxing ring.
What other fucking ring are you talking about, dude? Donald James Parker likes writing stuff where it's like you say a phrase, and if you changed a word in that phrase, it would be a different phrase. And that's clever. So we'll say them both together and like hope that your minds can create meaning out of this.
He writes pavement lyrics.
Basically.
Scripts. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like pavement for men who their families cut off contact with them.
Yeah. And it's their fault.
Yeah. He's the Stephen Malkmus of guys with estranged relationships to their fully grown daughters.
Who is the guy from Dukes of Hazzard who also has a family relationship like that and tends to play older male characters?
Yeah, Schneider.
Another guy who plays old male characters who are always like pointing out how stupid the rest of society is.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, imagine Donald James Parker and John Schneider opposite
teaming up. I don't think it would be like two beta fish in the same tank.
No, you're right.
One of them ain't coming out of there alive. At least
I think it. I don't know if Donald could. He could hold his own intellectually, but I feel like John's more of a fighter.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll be it. That's how they recognize each other's strengths and weaknesses and how to complement each other, and that's how they solve the crime, whatever the plot of the movie is.
Like, I feel like Donald James Parker will be like, but how about we have a duel of words? And John Schneider will be like, shut up, faggot. And like, that'll be the end of it.
You'd hate to be the woman between those two.
You would like, really hate to be.
Oh my God.
Who do you, whose bones do you jump first?
Yeah. Yeah, you said there was the only actor you would go gay for is Mads Mikkelsen. For me, it's Donald James Parker. Every guy gets one.
And if you don't have one, then it's you.
Yeah, then it's you?
That's a Donald J. Parkerism right there.
Yeah, it is, yes. It really is. It's like, okay, this phrase reminds me of a different phrase, so I'm going to say them both.
Total nonsense. It reminds me
doesn't
of
really make sense.
My partner told me when she was in like a religious middle school, it was like a private Christian middle school. She had a history or biology teacher who said that the Twin Cities in Minnesota were the modern day Sodom and Gomorrah. Needed no reasoning for it other than that they were right next to each other.
I love that. Oh, you guys.
So, yeah, I mean, wait until he learns about Kansas City.
Like they never put two cities next to each other since Sodom and Gomorrah.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of private schools, one of the few Letterboxd reviews of this, which only gave it a 0.5 star for some reason, said, I went to a private school where the lead actor's daughter went. There was a day when he came in and showed this to us. I don't remember much, but it was a weird day and everything about it felt off. I could tell even before I knew a single thing about movies that something was horribly wrong with the movie. Now I'm a cinephile and watching something like this is my worst nightmare, but knowing myself, I will endure it someday.
So I love that
If
review.
only she had the chart. If only she
I was
had
just
the
gonna
chart
say.
of art. Yeah.
I was just going to say, like, we need to contact this reviewer and we need to have her fill out the good art versus bad art chart. And it sounds like she would say that the number 1 made her feel weird. Number 2 saps energy. Number 3 set off a downward spiral. Number 4 confuses the mind.
Yeah.
Produces stagnation.
And by referring to themselves as a cinephile, probably saying anti-canonical.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. What's that pain chart? You know, the one that has all the smiley faces?
Yeah, like the pain scale or whatever.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Let me see.
I just feel like that could also be the McGill pain chart, I think is what it's called. Oh, no, the Wong like Baker faces scale. That's just take a picture of your face after watching a movie and find it on that scale, and that's the new art chart.
That's honestly probably a more effective art chart. Like, for instance, I would say like in the bad art column that, you know, this film did sap my energy, but you know, it clarified my mind.
Yeah.
It's this film sapped my energy yet clarified my mind. So
you know what? This is a good way to do the rating today. Just going down this.
Yeah.
I'd say this movie improved my mood.
Yeah.
I would say it did not boost or sap my energy. Right in the middle.
Yeah, right. Right.
You know what? I'll give it boost. I'll give it.
Yeah, if you have to pick one.
Sets off an upward spiral or a downward spiral. Well, I go upstairs to podcast after watching this, so literally upward spiral.
Yeah.
Mental effect clarifies the mind, confuses the mind. Just depends.
It clarified
on the
my
scene.
mind, frankly.
Okay.
Yeah, there were times when Donald James Parker did his best to confuse my mind, but like overall, I felt pretty clarified. I don't know. That's just me.
Okay. And then 5 faster versus slower produces momentum, produces stagnation.
That one's tough.
I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of stagnating in this movie.
It was a bit stagnated.
Yeah.
If I had to pick one, I would probably pick stagnation.
Yeah. It was kind of literally about producing stagnation and about producing momentum. Like that's what the movie was about.
Right. Would you say it was more like coffee or weed?
Definitely more like coffee.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Not very weed-like, and that is a dig against it. Unfortunately, I personally am on the wrong side of. Well, I like coffee. I never had bulletproof coffee though.
That's like the conservative one.
No, I think that's when you put butter in coffee.
Wait, really? No.
Yeah,
there's like a brand bulletproof coffee, but that was the thing when it started, right? It was like putting butter in coffee.
You're right.
Yeah,
but you're right that it's now a brand as well. But yeah, it's
supposed to make
I had
caffeine
no idea.
work better. And actually, I did get one of those cans once, and it was no different. Okay, essential nature, structured and rhythmic, unstructured and obsessively anti-rhythm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the latter.
Did you instinctively recognize this as art or a scam?
One or the other.
It was art. I watched this movie. I was like, that's art.
Okay. I didn't feel scammed by it.
I didn't feel scammed by it. I will say on the next one, it was a bad map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me, this film was art, but it was a bad map.
I don't think it was malevolently a bad map, but it was definitely a bad map.
Only towards mother-in-laws. It was only malevolent towards mother-in-laws.
There was a lot of
MAP
sweat,
stands
tears,
for
and struggle.
MAP stands for mother-in-law attracted person. So I would say this was a bad map because it didn't paint a very good picture of mother-in-laws.
Yeah, true. An input, sweat, tears, and struggle. Yeah, clearly. Or obfuscation, lies, and resentment.
They were sweating. I saw Franco Columbu was lifting weights in this movie. I'd say they were sweating.
I think it wishes to be canonic.
It wished to be
classic
canonic.
boxing movie.
Yes. And it succeeded.
And 12 hints at forgotten values.
Or mocks the concept of values.
I would say the latter. I don't think that was intentional.
Yeah.
But
it mocked values. Yeah, I agree. I love being like, yeah, this movie mocked values. It's so awesome.
Mocked the concept of values.
13. In the category of life, did the film empower life or enfeeble life? I think this empowered life. I mean, people look pretty buff in the movie.
Yeah.
They didn't seem very feeble to me.
Yeah, it was definitely all about empowering life.
Yeah. 14, beauty. Did it believe in and try to produce beauty, or did it spit on beauty and actively celebrate ugliness?
Yeah, definitely celebrated ugliness.
Yeah,
for sure.
I saw some. There was some ugly dude. I'm sorry, Donald James Parker was in this fucking movie. Like,
the OG busted ass white boy. That's why women find him so irresistible.
Yes,
right.
Exactly. Come on. And I say, listen, this does not conflict with my comment earlier that I would go gay for him. I'm just saying he's ugly, but he's a 1 on the binary. I would fuck him. 15, conclusion. Is it either good art is man's divine right and terrible duty, or bad art is whining, coping, seething, and a waste of time? I'm going to have to say
both.
It's kind of both. I would say that this film was a terrible duty.
Yes, absolutely. And we ain't talking D-U-T-Y, if you know what I mean. Oh. You add like a toilet flushing noise here.
Yeah, I'm going to add like 16 of them just in a row. All playing on top of each other.
This had it all. It was whining, coping, seething, a waste of time, as well as man's divine right and terrible duty.
I think that's beautiful. That's like I am the alpha and the omega, you know?
I love that fucking little watermark of old books guy at the bottom. As if anybody's going to fucking go knocking on this guy's door to
what's so
offer
funny?
a book deal.
You know what's so funny? An old book deal. I looked at his original post on Twitter, and I looked at the comments of it, and all the comments that go to the top are the blue checks, you know, because that's how it's been restructured. And one of the first comments was someone saying like, "Great chart. My only note is, if I were you, I would put your watermark somewhere in the middle. That makes it harder to crop out." So
looking out for the branding.
But one of his followers was like, "I think this is a great chart."
It doesn't surprise me that checkmark people, blue check marks, agree with this chart.
I know, but you have to admit, and I tried to say this on our Twitter, I hope it came across, but like for what we do specifically, this is an awesome chart.
Yeah, no, I love this chart.
I love this chart. I hate to say I'm going to be thinking about it a lot.
I love this dude's obsession with Napoleon.
Oh yeah, he is into Napoleon. I briefly looked through his Twitter.
I feel
like a guy whose name is synonymous with failure.
I mean, he did a lot.
He did, yeah. But what is he remembered for? Losing.
Well, yeah. And then ABBA wrote that song about him. That diss track about him.
He was good in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you say that movie was a good map?
Oh, here we go again. All 15. Let's do it. Yeah. Just kidding.
Every time we name any movie, from now on in future episodes of this podcast, anytime we reference any other movie, we are mandated to stop what we're doing, find that movie, and map it out on the good and bad art chart. Our episodes are suddenly like 4.5 hours long.
Yeah.
Because we're like, oh, it reminds me of that part in Beretta's Island. Okay, Beretta's Island did improve my mood, boosted my energy. Well, what do you say, guys? I mean, is this the first Boys Bible Study episode where we don't do our traditional rating? Should we just say
I still think we should give it a
let's
give
just really quick give it a
we got a tradition going here.
We do. We don't mock values. We hint at forgotten values. One of which is tradition. Yeah. So really quick, what's the Boys Bible Study rating of one more round?
I don't mock values, but I mock the concept of values. So I'm going to have to give this 15 out of 15. It nailed everything that I see fit in a movie that I like. Perfect movie. I loved seeing everybody in it. Kevin Sorbo, Franco Columbo.
What's going on with the melon head of yours?
Donald James Parker. To be honest, those three are enough. They didn't even need anybody else in the movie, including the main character. Perfect movie.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm going to... I feel both empowered and enfeebled by what I have seen today. I'm going to give this a 10 out of 10 on the Wong Baker Faces pain rating scale. I left the theater frowning with tears streaming down my face.
As for me, I love this movie. It was a real meeting of the minds. Donald James Parker stole the show. I can understand why every time Chip Rossetti sets up a camera, he wants Donald in front of it. He even outshone Kevin Sorbo, the king, in this film. So, but shout outs to the entire cast and crew. Love what you do. Gonna have to give this film. I'm gonna have to give this film 5 out of 5 bad maps because they might be a bad map, but it's all of them. So that's a perfect score. Okay. Well,
there you go.
Sure was a movie, y'all. That was one more round.
One more round of watching movies.
Yeah, one more round of this recording this fucking podcast. That's for damn sure. And many more, y'all. Many more rounds. If this is your first time listening to Boys Bible Study, on boysbiblestudy.com, you can subscribe to all of our free episodes. And if you really like what we do and you want to unlock bonus episodes, patreon.com/boysbiblestudy. Let that be your gym, a gym for the mind. And thank you very much to our generous supporters on the $20 patron saint tier: Nicole, Marissa, Jeff, Kara, and Rhett. Thank you very much. And our outro music is Oh My God by Mary. So from all of us here at Boys Bible Study, myself, Ash, my co-hosts, Scott and Julian, our co-host, Gramps, we would like to say, peace be with you.
And you also have peace.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Columbu.
And I am Santa Claus.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I feel your love in me, it's coming from within. Oh my God, my devotion is so unwavering. Divine emotions when you enter me.